5.9 The Zone.
All right. Are you still interested? Welcome into the show here on this Wednesday, Hump Day. I'm Matt in the Farm Bureau studio. Farm Bureau, go with the home team. They are your home team at Farm Bureau Insurance across the great state of Mississippi. Farm Bureau Insurance agents, your hometown heroes across the whole state in all 82 counties here in the state of Mississippi. Y'all hit them up. Check them out, favrates.com. You still interested in football? Huh? Everybody? Yes? No? Sort of? Let's just say, JB, that in a normal year, the way your interest peaks at 100% interested during the week of the first game. Okay, so like it's opening week. You're headed up to that first weekend in September. It's a normal year. There's going to be 65,000 people in the stadium in Starkville and 65 in the stadium in Oxford and 40,000 in Memorial Stadium in Jackson for Jackson State, right? The first weekend.
You got that fever.
You got that fever. And that particular weekend, in a normal situation, your interest is 100%.
Dialed in.
What is the percentage right now on November the 11th, 2020?
I'm about 98.
Okay.
I have to be.
Well, do you?
I mean, I try to be a help to you. I don't know that I'm a help or a hindrance, but you know, we chatted up at Live Oaks with the former coach from Jackson State. Chatted up with my boss Kyle.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talking it all the time.
I see.
But
you're into it.
I am. I really am, because I want to be able to help you. You know.
I see. Well, you do more than help.
But if I wasn't here,
yeah,
I don't know that I would be as dialed in as I am now.
Okay.
I'm just being honest.
Well, I have a theory, and I'm about to lay this theory out, that there are basically three interesting things about this football season in the SEC, and that's it. It's these three things, and that's it. Then I'm going to tell you what they are coming up. Some of them hit close to home. All right, so I'll tell you what that is coming up. Y'all text me. The text line is wide open. 885-ESPN, 601 number, 601-885-ESPN. If you need the number itself and not those letters, it's 885-3776. And you text that. Next thing you know, me and you, we're talking via text. Now, call me. We can hear your voice that way. It's always fun to hear your voice on the Davini Equipment phone line. Davini Equipment, Madison and in Jackson, your Kubota dealer. Here's the number, 995-1059. It's a 601 number also, 601-995-1059. Hog Jowl is our first text on the Country Pleasing text line. And as an Arkansas fan, he says, I am 100% interested. How can I not be? Well, of course. How could you not be, Hog Jowl? Little Arkansas Razorback band from Arkansas Razorback land. Yes. How could you not be, Hog Jowl? Things are on the up and up. And look, you got a good coach, and Sam Pittman ain't going to be able to be there this weekend, but it doesn't matter because you're going into a game with the Gators, chomp, chomp, who you feel like you have a chance. Hadn't always been able to say that. There you go.
Hey, you know, he's doing something good today.
What's he doing?
It's Veterans Day, so hats off, salute, and thank you and prayers for all our veterans that have served and those who continue to serve.
That's right.
He's out playing some tunes at a Veterans Day event today.
Oh, really? Is he? That's cool.
He sent me a little video of him warming up, and dude's got some talent, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can sing and play pretty spot on to make you want to go kind of big silly.
Come on, all you Razorback fans.
Come on, Razorback fans. This is us just for you, Hog Jowl. Here they go. And then don't they do their fingers like this? They do like spirit.
Yeah,
they
yeah.
do spirit fingers.
I hadn't heard that in a long time.
Yeah.
That kind of sounds funny coming from your mouth.
Spirit fingers. That's what they called it, I think. Anyway, yeah.
Remind me of the cheerleaders from Saturday Night Live with our man Will Ferrell.
Yeah. You remember that? That was a great SNL skit.
Oh man,
He and the little woman there that would pretend to be cheerleaders,
yeah.
perky cheerleaders. And as that again, that
There's that term.
My daughter watches this movie, and it's fine. It's you hear zombies, you're like, oh, a kid watching. No, listen, it's a kids thing, okay? And what it is, they're all in this school, and it's like, how do the zombies and the regular kids treat each other? And there's all this drama from time to time. But at one point, one of the regular kids, a cheerleader, walks up to the zombie table, and they called her Miss Perky Cheerstick. That's what they called her. You're like making fun of her, So now it's stuck in my head. Perky Cheerstick. I do have to say it's a good idea that hasn't actually popped up on this show in a while, and that is from Gail, who's listening, watching on the live stream. It says, well, if you're going to play the Arkansas music, you've got to play some Boom. Yeah, well, why not? Hey, and also, we'll touch on it, but I saw a link. It might not be news to you, but Deion Sanders' son is going to play quarterback for him at Jackson State, so we'll touch on that. That was a link that I saw over at ESPN. Shadur Sanders is going to play for his dad at Jackson State. Y'all may have already known that, though. We'll make sure we know. Yeah, so there's a Sonic Boom for you on Hump Day. Jason in Flagstaff says, get a happy Veterans Day going out to the men and women out there. Absolutely. Happy Veterans Day. Thanks, everybody, so much for your service. Thank a serviceman or woman for their service today if you get that opportunity, and we'll do it kind of collectively. Big finish there from the Sonic Boom. Pug says, I'm not going to lie. I've lost a lot of interest over what my usual interest would be for football. Started the shift towards baseball. Pug says, I will still be attending the rest of the home games, but my usual interest during the week is significantly less. And then unnamed texter says, still 100% in for my Bulldogs. It's kind of like watching high school prospects, looking at what players are going to be the future. Yeah, so you find different ways to stay interested. So speaking of high school prospects, this is going to be the first week of 1A, 5A, 6A playoffs in Mississippi. It'll be week 2 for 2A, 3A, 4A. It'll also be week 2 or 3. 3 for MAIS. Most of it anyway. So we can get into some of that. Ryan is on the Davini Equipment phone line. Davini Equipment, Madison and in Jackson. Your Kubota dealer. Ryan, thanks for calling. What's up, man?
Hey, Matt. Before I get on with what I'm saying, I want to thank 2 veterans for my family.
Okay.
My uncle, Colonel Hugh McCallum, National Guard. He's deployed. He's been deployed to Kuwait a couple times. And thankfully, we got him back this year.
Oh, that's great.
Also, he makes the best brisket. And the last one I want to thank is grandfather. Homer Greer served in the Korean War and came back with the GI Bill. He got to go to Ole Miss and then worked with the Army Corps Engineers and got to be on Apollo 15 and work on the first lunar rover.
Oh, wow. Unbelievable. How about that? Well, yeah. Hats off to those guys. Happy Veterans Day. Appreciate you mentioning them on the show, Ryan.
Mm-hmm. But yesterday, I heard Chicken Hawk talking about Tupelo, and I wanted to say this to Chicken Hawk right now. You might want to hold off on Tupelo beating Warren Central because I was there the last time Warren Central went up there to Tupelo, and when Warren Central just went all the way up there and just started whooping them around when they were supposed to be the best. They were supposed to be the best team in the state of Mississippi, and Warren Central showed them who's the what real football is all about.
Right. So you were there. I think I was too. The last time it was a playoff game, and Warren Central came up here and won. Wasn't it a playoff
that was
game?
A long trip. Oh, yeah, it was a playoff game. It was the first round, I remember.
Yeah.
It was cold that night.
Yes, it was. I do remember that. And, I remember Josh and them, they called, what was it, a fake field goal that wound up going for a big play or a score or something like that in the game that kind of turned the momentum. Yeah, I do remember that. It sure is. Well, look, I'll say this, Ryan. I think I'm making a decision. I've been going out and filming high school games every week for the Hometown Heroes deal. And I think this week, just because, it's family coming into town for the Friday night game, I think I'm just going to be a fan this Friday night and just go sit and watch a game and watch that Tupelo-Warren Central game. And, the truth about it is, Warren Central is Warren Central this year. I'm sure they are expected to and probably should win the game. Anytime you have to go on a road, and like you're saying, it's an easy 4-hour trip one way. Anything can happen. And Tupelo's been playing better and better football. But I would think that Warren Central is probably expected to win the game. So, but I'm looking forward to watching.
I went to that South Panola Warren Central game. I tell you, that was a pretty good game. It was
yeah.
As Mike Leach would say, it's a knockout, slug out, and blood, guts, and boogers.
Blood, guts, and boogers. That's about right. Ryan, thanks for the call, man. Good to hear from you. We'll go over those playoff matchups. They got them posted over there at MississippiGridiron.com. And look at all of them. First round, 1A, 5A, 6A. Second round for 2A, 3A, 4A. MAIS, you got either, second or third week of those, depending on who you are. And it's starting to get interesting. It's like we were talking about yesterday. It's certainly intense because somebody's going home when it's over. You think about these kids who kind of have because of COVID, that get the rug dragged out or jerked out from underneath their feet. That's a really tough thing also. But unfortunately, it's just kind of where we are. And it's just, you hate to use the term, but it applies. It is what it is. No, on the interest part of this, okay? So the reason I was asking that question, and Danny on the live stream, he said this whole season is like it doesn't even count. You can't avoid that feeling. And then you can choose to either say, yeah, I kind of agree with it, it doesn't count. I'm talking about, FBS football, particularly around here in the SEC. Or you can choose not to believe that and say, no, it does count, and I'll be just as into it as I always am. But I think the majority of people, you're trying your best to look past the fact that there's only a few people in the stands, and you're trying your best to force yourself at times to have the same amount of interest versus what you normally have. And I get it. Now, look, if I were, as a radio host, in the business of trying to, what's the word here? If I were trying to be an opinion maker, meaning I'm trying to come out here and influence your opinion. I'm trying to actually impact the way you feel about this particular subject. Well, then I might take a different approach, right? Because some people could point at it and go, hey, Matt, it makes no sense whatsoever for you to be on a sports talk show in an SEC footprint state and going, that's not interesting. It's not interesting. Because then you're just like, what, throwing water on your whole job? No, well, maybe. But I'm not interested in trying to be an opinion maker. I'm sort of just telling you the truth. That's the way it is, the way it feels. Now, right now, on November 11th, that's influenced by the fact that all these games are getting postponed this week. We're going to have this full slate of games, and then all of a sudden, not anymore. Right? So first was Mississippi State Auburn. Done. Not happening this weekend. Then it was Alabama LSU. That's number 2. Then it was Tennessee A&M. Now it's Georgia Missouri. That one's not happening either. So you've got 4 SEC games that were scheduled this weekend that have all been postponed. And so that's why I say, okay, the immediacy, what do they call it? The recency. I think the term that gets used in different contexts at times is recency bias, right? So recency bias, yeah, we're going into a weekend where 4 out of the 7 games, you're going to have 3 games this weekend as of right now that are going to take place. One of those is South Carolina at Ole Miss on Saturday night. Another is Arkansas at Florida, but Arkansas without Sam Pittman. And the other one is the 11 a.m. game, Vanderbilt, Kentucky. You know, it's almost like for this particular weekend, thank goodness for the Masters. You know, and one thing we didn't touch on yesterday, JB, because it was all real fresh, but does all this football cancellation help the Masters ratings?
Absolutely.
I mean, it really does.
Absolutely.
Not that they were going to have, I mean, they'd have good ratings anyway, but still, I think it will help it.
Well, you know, our TV in the pro shop got stuck on a certain channel over the weekend, and we couldn't watch any football, so we had to watch it in the other, where the Roosevelt's restaurant is.
Well, y'all need to be getting a new TV.
Well, we got the people that provide the service. They're supposed to be out there, but we have a guy called Super Lurch, who's our green superintendent, and he got up almost in the roof and manually changed the channel so it would stay on the golf channel.
Stay on. Okay, gotcha.
So I have been watching nonstop the last 3 mornings, the very first shows. And I'm going to tell you, you have never seen Augusta look like it is. But I don't want to ruin it for you, but you will appreciate this because you've been there, and I never have. There's going to be a lot of paint out there.
No.
Yes.
On the turf?
On the playing surface.
Oh,
there's
God.
a lot of paint. Yeah.
They have painted the grass.
Yeah. That's straight from the mouth of our green superintendent. And I'm not talking about the dude from Caddyshack either.
Carl?
Yeah.
Carl Spackler? Carl! I want you to kill all the gophers on the course. Pardon me, Sandy, but if I kill all the golfers, they'll lock me away and throw away the key. Not golfers, you great goof gophers. That's a great scene. Carl.
Yes, it is.
All right. Well, okay. So they're going to paint the. I'm going to be looking at artificially green grass at the Masters.
Yeah, but you know what? What I've seen so far is just I've never been there, and nobody that has been there has come back and said, it's really not worth the trip.
Oh no, I mean it is.
But what you don't see on TV, and I'd love to get your reaction to it, and the gentleman that we're going to talk to later today, is to describe the undulation and the hills and all that you've got to walk over there, because you can't see that even with a good TV. You can't see how hilly and how, but these last couple mornings they've shown some shots, and it's almost like it's in the mountains.
I know, it's up and down. There are places on that golf course that, again, you couldn't really tell watching it normally on TV, and then you go, and there are places where if you slip down, you're rolling a long way before you stop. It's up and down. It'll kick your rear end walking it now if you're out of shape. That was part of the thing we laughed at in 2017 when Annabeth and I went, how, going into the tournament, I was telling her, hey, look now, you got those short little legs. I got long legs. You are notorious for wearing the wrong shoes that hurt your feet and all this kind of stuff. And I'm just telling you, I've been over here. The walking's going to be tough. Well, guess what? She outwalked me every day. I was telling her, slow down. Let's rest. Why are you in such a hurry? That was me. She was like all over the place. She had no trouble. I'm back there breathing hard, like, hang on, hold on a minute, wait up. It was funny how I misevaluated the whole thing. But you're right, it is super duper hilly over there for sure. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing it. We'll catch up with Don Williams later today on the show, live from Augusta. We'll probably talk with Don tomorrow too, which will be day 1 of the tournament, and we'll go from there. On the live stream right now, a few comments. Steve said, let's view this interrupted season as one long, late spring football. Like you said, State's not playing for this year. That's just the truth. You know, when I was in the stadium this past Saturday against Vanderbilt, Steve, we're doing radio. Even though there haven't been fans there like normal, none of the games have felt, from a radio calling it in a works perspective, and none of them have felt different to me in terms of once the game gets started. I guess it's almost like playing. For some reason, I sort of have tunnel vision. I don't even notice anything else but what's going on the field during the game. So it hasn't felt different to me. But then when I watch highlights or I go back and watch the game again, like, and see your perspective if you're watching it on TV, where you see these field level shots and on the other side there's nobody in the stands, it just sends a spring football message, doesn't it? It just sends a message to your mental computer. You're like, this ain't the real thing. I swear that's how it feels. So there are 3 interesting things about this SEC football season. 3, and that's it. 2 of them are still ongoing.
Really? So
Yeah.
one's already happened.
And it's right, and I'll tell you what they are. That's a heck of a tease, isn't it?
You promise?
Yeah. Try to keep me on track here. I promise I'll try to get to it when I come back.
Well, let's not be like those 2 things about State.
3 things next. Stick around.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
Bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with auto pay and paperless billing. Even without auto pay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bull. That's the real deal. Switch to C Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? Country Pleasin' sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan. Put it on a bun. Get some andouille, make some gumbo. It is the best sausage you've ever put in your mouth. Country Pleasin' sausage, countrypleasin.com. It is made up of hand-picked hams, bacon, and pork loin. That's why it tastes so good. I even got this cool hat from them. Check them out. Go by the butcher shop there in Florence, or order it online, or look for it in grocery stores. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasin', please.
lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing for 2020 that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once everything, the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much and it's dirty as all get out. But this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Hey, are you buying land or selling it? You need to let Matt Anderson.
Get out online now at thezone1059.com.
All right, back with you. Live in the studio, the Farm Bureau studio. I'm Matt. JB is here. You are here. And now the homecoming queen's here as well, making an appearance, which is getting more and more regular.
You don't have a hat on. Hey, JB.
There she goes. She gets a round of applause. No hat today.
No hat?
There's one there I could put on.
You always wear a hat.
My M over S hat from the Mississippi State University.
Kind of classic.
From the MSU golf course at Hale State GC. Look them up at Hale State GC. Anything with the baseball logo on it, it's my favorite thing.
I
wear
like
it
that
all.
logo a lot, actually.
Yeah, I wear it the most. How about this look right here? Like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, my kids gave me a really nice baseball logo golf shirt for my birthday.
Attaboy.
Matt
Yeah.
really needs to give you a few of these hats he's got.
That's I appreciate that love that you're giving me there.
Do you wear
Homecoming
hats,
Queen.
JB?
I do. I'm
Matt
a hat
has
dude.
a
I've
bountiful amount.
I've hinted that to Matt more than he eats country pleasing.
Well, the thing is, though, I told JB.
Now that I know it's on my radar, it'll get done.
I told JB that if I had hair like him, I wouldn't wear hats.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, well, I don't.
Yeah. Neither one
Okay.
of us have Jake Wimberly hair, though.
No, we don't. Bit of news here, real quick, Annie, before we get into a little Masters conversation. The news here is that, according to reports, Liberty and Hugh Freeze have agreed on a second contract extension in the last 11 months. This one extends his contract with the Flames through the 2026 season. The previous one was through 2024. Whether there's a monetary difference, I don't know. It's not reported, but I thought I'd just put that out there.
Are they good? I mean.
Oh, yeah, they're good. They're undefeated.
Oh, okay.
He's got them undefeated.
What is that? I mean, what's their conference?
Then I don't think they have one.
Oh.
They have a big matchup coming up with Coastal Carolina, who
Yeah.
I believe is ranked number 21 in the country.
Liberty and Coastal Carolina are ranked. Michigan is not.
What?
Right.
I don't
State,
understand
think
that they
is.
don't have a conference. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
How do they how do they know
put us-
who to play?
I'll tell you why. They want to be the sort of Baptist / evangelical version of like what BYU is around the country for Mormons, or like
But BYU is in a conference,
they
right?
are not.
They're not.
They are independent.
Okay, well, I didn't know
Notre
that.
Dame, what Notre Dame is to Catholics, they are independent. And they're sort of in
Okay.
the ACC. They want to be that
They're
kind of
sort of in the ACC.
Yeah, this year. Notre Dame is because
Yeah.
of COVID.
This is all over my head.
Well, anyway, just understand this. Liberty has plenty of money. Plenty. I'm
Especially
talking,
the freeze factor.
and they got the freeze factor as well. But they've got plenty of money. So they can do just about whatever they want to do.
They're
And they can
they're
recruit.
undefeated, and
They are
who
undefeated.
do they play? Other
They just have a
That's a great question.
well, I mean,
a mishmash schedule. But the opportunities they've had, they've won them. I don't know who.
Syracuse, and then last week beating Vatech.
Vatech.
maybe
They're
Ole
two.
Miss and State need to pull out of the SEC and just
No, they don't.
not have a conference.
No, they don't. They certainly do not. Okay.
That's interesting.
Yeah, Pat was texting, and let me take care of this, and then we'll get over here. Pat texted me. He said the other day you were talking about you punting some in high school. I was a kid growing up watching at the time you were playing, but if I'm not mistaken, didn't we use you to do pooch kicks in certain situations, or did I imagine it? No, Pat, we did it. We called it Matt's team.
Matt's team.
If the ball was at midfield, so you're a little too far away, midfield-ish. You're a little too far away for a field goal, but you don't really want to go for it and turn it over right there. You don't want to use your regular punter because he's a little too close. They'd let me go in. We keep the defense on the field. If I go in and look like we're going to run a play, and at the last minute I back up and then kick it deep so that they couldn't put their return unit out there.
That's pretty sneaky.
And I was decent at doing it and pinning it down in there inside the 10. And so, it was Coach Sherrill always looking for something on special teams. I love doing it.
Well, didn't you show me?
Punt to the coffin corner, right?
That's it. That's
didn't
right.
you show me in Alabama when we drove through? I don't know where we went, but you showed me an old house that you had lived in, and then you pointed across and said, "See that area over there? That's where I'd kick. That's where I'd learned to kick the football when you were little." Yeah,
Miss Scruggs had a big open lot, I'd say, several acres that they kept mowed, and there were these 3 really, but kind of like the first 2 were like goalposts almost, pine trees, these huge pine trees that just made these nice little wickets. And I'd get on one end. With football, as a kid, you got a bag full of footballs. And if you don't have 2 or 3 people with you, or at least one other, what are you going to do?
Just going to kick.
You're going to kick it. And so that's kind of how I started punting and learned to punt and turn the ball over and make it spiral, And
there's an art to that.
Yeah.
There really is.
It just takes practice.
Yeah.
Matt's team.
Yeah, they call it Matt's team. That's right.
Great.
So, JB, I mentioned this to you yesterday.
Yeah.
Annabeth has a story of what happened when I went to a practice round at the Masters in 2012.
Yeah.
I left here at really a little before 4 a.m., drove 7 hours to Augusta, got out, walked the course on a practice round all day long. It got dark. I got in my car and drove back home.
Insane. Isn't that
it's
insane?
It's the Smokey and the Bandit version of going to the Masters.
Matt does those kind of things.
Yeah. But anyway, something happened.
Okay, so Matt goes and takes his camera, nice camera, had a camera card, took pictures all day.
Because at a practice round, you can take pictures.
Yeah. When we went, we couldn't take any pictures.
During the tournament, no pictures, no phones, no nothing.
Nothing. That
Except
felt...
use your $6 million man eye.
Yeah, That's right. I still wanted proof, though, that we were there. I'm like, we can't even take a selfie. But anyway, so Matt goes over, takes all these pictures, then gets back in his car and drives home. Well, the next, day or two, I got a text from a photographer here in Tupelo who had taken some baby pictures of Mary Liddy, because I guess Mary Liddy...
She was 1 year old at
She was young,
the time.
yeah. And she has a website and a blog and all this other stuff, and so it's the craziest thing. Matt dropped a camera card on the Masters
course. On the course. Just laying out in the grass. And JB, this photographer here...
Teeny tiny card.
Yeah, a little...
Right. I'm familiar.
And this photographer reached out to Annabeth and said, hey,
did
out
Matt,
of the blue...
Out of the blue.
Said, hey, did Matt go to the Masters?
And I'm like, yeah, he went. And she's like, these people have contacted me because they got the camera card, put it in their computer, looked through the pictures
of Mary Liddy.
Saw Mary Liddy, saw a shop in Tupelo, looked that shop up, which led to...
Mary Liddy in one of the pictures had something on monogrammed, and it said Mary Liddy.
Yeah.
So they Googled her name.
Well, no, they also found it in front of the corner shoe store.
Oh, okay.
Remember?
Is that what it was?
They
Corner shoe store.
Googled the store. Then it comes up with photographer. I don't remember how the photographer got involved.
I remember what it was. It led them
to her website.
To the photographer's website who had taken some pictures
and
of
she
Mary
had
Liddy.
Mary Liddy posted on the website. And so she's like, these people are trying to get this camera card back to you. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And I was like, Matt, did you know you dropped it? And he goes, I had no idea.
No clue.
Well, it's spotless on that course. If a pine cone or a piece of pine straw falls, they pick it up. Well, this really sweet guy who was working one of the holes saw the card, picked it up, took it home. He and his wife went to all this trouble and found us, and we are Facebook friends. I sent him a baby gift. When I finally got to go to the Masters with Matt a couple of years ago, we found him, and I hugged him and said, thank you so much. the
That's
most
amazing.
bizarre.
And they lived
small
in Columbia,
world.
South Carolina,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and they go every year. He works some of the holes, and
Yeah.
she's a teacher. They're really sweet, and so
Well, you know what that tells me?
we connected.
That tells me that all the things that we hear and read about our country and social media and everything are
There-
not true. When you
there's
get
some-
down,
there's
there are
some
some good people.
That's right.
Some really
Yeah.
good people.
And we
That's
need to
right.
cling to that and quit worrying about all this other mess.
That's right.
I
They were
agree.
That's a
so
great
kind.
story.
They were so kind, and
Yeah.
just they went to so much trouble to find us. And I'm so glad that camera card had tons of really special pictures on it, because Mary Liddy was just one, and so it was so sweet of them, and it was just I just still can't get over it.
Well, and the woman, okay, so the guy is working. He's one of the people with the green shirt on who's there working the Masters.
Apparently
right?
does it every year.
Does it every year.
Yeah.
But his wife, you and his wife, sort of became like long distance friends.
Yeah, we did.
Through this camera card experience, and like you say, we met up with them later, and
pretty
it was
cool, man.
it was cool because JB, for me, it's number one. I had no clue I had lost the thing.
It's crazy.
There's no telling when it would have popped up, and like, where is that with those pictures and this and that? But anyway, it's laying on the course.
So
People walking all over the place, and the guy working there picks it up and decides we're going to see what's on the card and figure out a way to return it.
They just went to a lot of
I
effort.
ought to tell you how trained those people are to see something as small, because I'm assuming it's like a digital 35
Yeah,
millimeter.
little
board.
tiny.
Little bitty,
yeah.
teeny tiny thing.
Yeah.
And then to go to all that trouble and mail it back to us, it was just so sweet of them. And his wife, before we went, I messaged her and I said, "Hey, look, I'm getting to go to the Masters. Will your husband be there? I want to go and thank him." And this was a couple years later, and there he was. And I said, "Oh my gosh, I recognize you. I've seen you on your wife's Facebook page. Thank you so much." So that's our cool.
Yeah, that's a
our
great
cool
story.
Yeah.
That's a great story. So whenever you get disheartened about what happens in the world, just remember that.
Yeah, people, there's a whole lot more good out there than there is other.
That's it, man.
It's
We
just
need
a
to be
matter of
telling those
highlighting that.
stories.
Yeah,
Especially
that's
on the
right.
Masters course, all good things happen there.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Everybody's in a happy mood.
We'll talk about
That's
this
right.
Tomorrow with you, Annabeth, but I did mention how in 2017 when we went, I was telling you, hey, it's going to be tough walking now. It's hilly. And then for 2 days, I'm like, slow down.
He couldn't keep up.
Wait. Why are you walking so fast?
His
She
6'6" legs
she
couldn't
was
keep
like
up with
speed
my
walking
5'2"
everywhere.
legs. Yeah.
It takes him a long time to lift up those feet.
That's what it is,
Big heavy
JB.
feet. All right, Annie. Good to talk to you.
Y'all too. See ya.
See you, homecoming queen.
All right. Y'all
Bye,
stick
JB.
around.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
Bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with auto pay and paperless billing. Even without auto pay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bull. That's the real deal. Switch to C Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? Country pleasing sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan. Put it on a bun. Get some andouille, make some gumbo. It is the best sausage you've ever put in your mouth. Country Pleasing Sausage, countrypleasing.com. It is made up of hand-picked hams, bacon, and pork loin. That's why it tastes so good. I even got this cool hat from it. Check them out. Go by the butcher shop there in Florence, or order it online, or look for it in grocery stores. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasing, please.
A lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing for 2020 that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once everything, the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wyatt stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much and it's dirty as all get out. But this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Hey, are you buying land or selling it? You need to let Matt Anderson with National Land Realty help you out. Matt Anderson's process.
Live online at thezone1059.com and
keep your radio turned on
to ESPN 105.9, The Zone.
All right, we got a birthday shout out over here on the live stream. Welcome back. I'm Matt in the Farm Bureau Insurance studio. Farm Bureau Insurance. Go! The home team staying connected to you because of C Spire, the #1 network in Mississippi. C Spire, customer inspired. Got a happy birthday shout out. Keith is saying happy birthday to his wife. They've been married 22 years. He says, you are the big 5-0 today, but still the light of my life. Aw, happy Veterans Day today to all who served and are currently serving. Keith, thanks for the message, and happy birthday to your better half. Hope it's a good one. All right, dadgummit. Before we do anything else, here's what I was saying. Sven even took a guess at it over there on the live stream when I said there are 3 interesting things about this SEC football season, and that's it. And only 2 of them are still going on. But 3 things, and that's it. He took a swing at it. He said, 1, Bama goes undefeated. 2, will Florida beat Georgia? And 3, how will Leach develop state into the air raid? Kind of, sort of. Here it is, okay? Number 1, interesting thing. Bama versus Florida in the SEC title game. You could kind of see that brewing even before they beat Georgia. What I mean by that is, had Georgia won the game, is watching Georgia and Alabama in the title game again interesting to anybody? Not really. What's going to happen? Bama's going to win. All right, so now the fact that it is Florida and it is Alabama. You're like, well, Matt, the season is still ongoing. Nothing's been decided. Oh, it's decided. It's over. Over. O-V-E-R. Over. It's Florida versus Alabama. And it is interesting. And if you're Mullen, you find out the way to get a team to the SEC title game is to not be in Nick Saban's division. Number 1. Then the next question is, how do you beat him in the title game? Well, you're not. Okay, but that's it. So the number 1 interesting thing in SEC football this year is Bama versus Florida. It's going to happen in Atlanta. Number 2, I think interesting thing is Lane Kiffin and what he's doing with the Ole Miss offense and Matt Corral. You're like, not A&M? No, not A&M. Not, let's see, who else, Matt? I mean, you got other teams, not Arkansas. No. I'm saying Lane Kiffin paired with what he's doing with Matt Corral interests everybody across the league, whether they win or not. That one's still ongoing. And the third interesting thing that has already happened in SEC football this year was the air raid debut, and they just swept all the headlines week one by wiping out, just totally toppling and wiping out the defending national champion, even though they're not even closely related to last year's team. It's the same school. State beating LSU the way they did in week one. There they are. There it is. That's the three things. That's it. That's it. You go, yeah, well, Matt, your perspective is different than, say, an Arkansas fan. Sure it is. If you ask Hogjowl, it's a totally different thing. But what I'm doing is I'm kind of looking at this from the perspective of the whole league. I'm not looking at it as just a State fan. I'm not looking at it as just an Ole Miss fan or just an Arkansas fan or just a Georgia fan. No, back off and go collectively, overall, what is interesting about this year in the SEC is three things, and that's it. And only two of them are still happening. Bama, Florida, Kiffin and Corral, and three, what State did to LSU. That's it. The rest of it is snooze fest. Hate to say it. And again, I'm not here to be an opinion maker. If I was trying to do that, I'd influence everybody to think, oh boy, it's so interesting. Listen to me for 3 hours a day. That's just not what I'm here for. Kind of just telling you the truth. Agree, disagree, y'all hit me up. Let me know. Text me on the Country Pleasing text line, 885-ESPN. It's a 601 number, 885-ESPN. Call me on the Divinity phone, 995-1059, 601-995-1059. Fletch, you picked up on it over here on the Country Pleasing text. He said, Carl Speckler. Is it Speckler or Spackler? What'd I say? I think I said Spackler, didn't I?
Oh, I'll give you credit, man.
You knew what I was trying to say, though, right?
Exactly, man. Fletch is a good dude, but Fletch has a tendency to always be 100% correct.
Oh, really? What does that mean?
Yeah.
He's a know-it-all?
No. He just seems to pontificate without error.
In other words, he's a smart aleck. That's
well,
good.
I wouldn't go that far.
He's just a know-it-all.
I love him to death. You know, he had shoulder surgery, and he's doing a lot better. So,
That's
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
That's good. Thanks, Fletch. Unnamed texter said, also, staying on top of recruiting, really interested in the prospect from Florida that we are still trying to get a commitment from. Would be a fantastic get for the offensive line. You know, for people who love recruiting and are really into that, yeah, that's a year-round thing, regardless of your outcome, right? For sure. I'm not into it. Rebel Rex says, I'm still loving football. Ole Miss is fun to watch. The defense should keep improving. And what's going to be fun, hopefully, is when Leach and Kiffin get it all together and shake up the West, and both State and Ole Miss make another Sports Illustrated cover. A little different with no fans, but still got to love it. Go Rebs. Yeah, it definitely is different. You know, and I think for a lot of us, we're learning that the fan experience and the noise and stuff, for a lot of people, does have an impact on how you enjoy the games and all that. You know, it just is what it is. But I think for you, Rex, I mean, being an Ole Miss fan, like I said, one of the three interesting things about this year is Corral and the Ole Miss offense. And I think it sheds some light on – somebody asked this question. It was posed last week on Twitter. I thought it was a good question. It said, who is the best bad team in college football? Who's the best bad team? Well, Ole Miss got a lot of votes. Because, you know, a bad team, well, they don't have a defense that can stop anybody, and therefore they've lost some games. And they may lose some more. But every time they run out there, you watch them and you go, just get off the field, defense. Put the offense back out there somehow. I want to watch this offense play. You know, and their offense, because of their offense, you enjoy watching them play, honestly. I mean, I think it is what it is. Tiger Davis says, can you ask your audience about the best massage places in Jackson? He's needing help with a place that's kind of like a spa that he can give his wife a gift certificate. Okay, so any suggestions there, y'all, hit us up. I don't know. Ready Teddy says, Matt, if I had hats like you, I wouldn't have hair. See, it works both ways, JB. Special K. Ready Teddy. Special K says, speaking of logos, what was with State's helmet and field logo this past weekend? It's the Flying M. It's an homage back to the 70s. They had the Flying M logo. So it's throwback uniforms. Jason in Flagstaff says, I'm so mad at people who don't wear their masks over the games being canceled, especially the high school kids. All that, let's see here, braying folks did just to have schools open and play sports. Then they're throwing it away, and the kids pay the price for the general public's pomposity. Thanks, Jason. Thank you, Jason. Okay, the 80s. I said 70s. Sven said the Flying M logos from the 80s. Okay. Fleet Feet Pete says, so aren't you glad that what happens at the Masters doesn't stay at the Masters? That was a heck of a story, wasn't it? It really true. One of those stories that, it's a true story that you couldn't make it up. Pookie says, Matt Corral may be the biggest surprise to me. Hashtag Hail State. Yeah, I mean, look, my hat's off to him. I love those kinds of stories where, you got a guy who was written off, not benched, but really sort of surpassed or passed over last year because of the system they were running, sort of. And it was all John Rice Plumlee. And in even preseason here, people like me, we were talking about Plumlee and what Kiffin could do with a guy like that because of what he did with Blake Sims at Alabama. But none of us were talking about Corral, really. And then practice starts, and then you hear the first interview or two from Corral, and he sounds mature. He sounds driven, like locked in. Then he wins the job, and now, he had one bad game. That was Arkansas, but outside of that, nobody can stop him. I think my hat's off to him. I love those types of stories. JB is confirming that his cowbell has had a Flying M logo on it since 1973. Tony on the live stream says the Flying M was used from 1967 to 1971. So, Sven, it was not from the 80s. It was from the late 60s and early parts of the 70s. And then this will be a good text to wrap up the hour with, and we'll get into hour two. Thibodeau says, Veterans Day story. I had a grandfather that I didn't know well, but was always told he served in Europe during World War II, awarded a Silver Star and a Purple Heart for taking grenade shrapnel, and some shrapnel was never fully removed. He died in the mid-90s with shrapnel in his rump. Tough, 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 tough.
The greatest generation.
No question about it. Those cats that came through World War II, they were the real deal. Hour two coming up. Y'all stick around.
This Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with auto pay and paperless billing. Even without auto pay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bull. That's the real deal. Switch to C Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? Country Pleasing sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan. Put it on a bun. Get some andouille, make some gumbo. It is the best sausage you've ever put in your mouth. Country Pleasing sausage, countrypleasing.com. It is made up of hand-picked hams, bacon, and pork loin. That's why it tastes so good. I even got this cool hat from them. Check them out. Go by the butcher shop there in Florence, or order it online, or look for it in grocery stores. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasing, please.
A lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing for 2020 that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wyatt stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, and it's dirty as all get out. But this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Hey, are you buying land or selling it? You need to let Matt Anderson with National Land Realty help you out. Matt Anderson Properties. Here's what Matt can do. If you're buying land, you can view the property without ever setting foot on it. They've got the 360-degree interactive drone touring. It's really cool. You got to check it out. And if you're selling property, Matt's going to get you consistent reports, comprehensive reports of who's looking, how many people looked at your listing. You need to let him help you. Matt Anderson Properties with National Land Realty. Call him, 601-408-5155. Hey, if you listen to the show, you know that the new third hour of the Matt Wyatt Show is brought to you by Overstreet Properties in Starkville. Here's what you need to know. If you're looking for a weekend home or condo, full-time residence, investment property, maybe just an apartment to lease, you got a student going to school at state, call Kane Overstreet at Overstreet Properties. In Starkville, it's 323-8618, or look them up online, overstreetproperties.com. All right. It is hump day. It is Wednesday. There are interviews going on with SEC football coaches, including Mike Leach and I think Kiffin coming up, but I think Greg Sankey jumped in there on the teleconference because a lot of the media that cover the SEC around the league, different teams and elsewhere, have some quotes from him about all the postponements for this weekend. And again, 4 SEC games postponed this weekend. And, I guess we're keeping eyes on others. But so far, you haven't heard much out of the other 3. Arkansas goes to Florida. Vandy and Kentucky play. And South Carolina comes to Oxford. And those 3, there's been no blips. It seems like it's all good. We'll keep you posted. On that. I'm Matt in the Farm Bureau studio. Y'all text me here in the Farm Bureau Insurance studio. It's 885-ESPN. It's a 601 number. 885-ESPN. Or 885-3776. Call me on the Davini phone. Davini Equipment, Madison and in Jackson. Your Kubota dealer. That's Davini. 995-1059, 601. 995-1059. Give me a call. Somebody else, let's see here. Okay, the Flying M logo, 69 to 72. He says on the text line, I was there those years and have the logo on my 69 Cowbell. Is that like a 69 Camaro? Got a stripe down the middle?
Probably worth more money.
Probably. All right, so what do y'all want to get into here? We can do it in hour 2. Hour 3 coming up, we'll check in live from Augusta. My friend Don Williams, who's been a part of media coverage there live at Augusta for over 30 years straight, 30-something Masters for him and counting. And this obviously being the oddest one because of COVID. They're playing it here in November and not in April. But, we got it. We got the Masters. Today is, I guess, I don't know, JB. I haven't been following it. Today is normally the par 3. Are they going through just another practice round today like normal and that's it?
I did not see any practice being played on the course while I was at my course this morning.
Watching it on the golf channel stuff?
Yeah, all I saw was they were at the practice tees and just, everybody was working on their game, chipping, putting. Mm-hmm. I think DeChambeau hit 742 drives. That guy's going to have a worse back than mine is by the time he's my age.
Yeah, he's going to pay for it.
Yeah,
and
just doesn't even look normal.
Well, and you know what happens, JB, too? A lot of these guys, you know how you see these guys that they pop up and, man, they are on the scene and they got all this potential and they're playing well and then they just disappear. It happens every 2 to 3 years, right? A whole crop of what was up-and-comers and everyday names just disappear, and you never hear from them again. And I would tell you, I bet you about half of those that disappear, they disappear because of some mysterious back injury that all of a sudden they just can't seem to play through. You hear me?
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
And when the likes of a Freddie Couples or a Tiger Woods goes through it, we get an update on every surgery they've had. These other guys just go away and they're never heard from. And they're laid up in a chiropractor's office about 3 days a week or whatever, going to physical therapy. So you do. I think there's a right way and a wrong way to go about it. But, hey, have fun while you can, I guess. Go out there and hit it, tee it high, wind up, and let it fly.
I mean, that's what he's doing. I mean, it hurts me to watch him swing that driver.
Mm-hmm. Boy, and he really put on the weight too, didn't he?
Well, he's eating like 5,000 calories a day.
It's incredible.
My metabolism I'd be 4,000 pounds.
I would too. I'd be.
I can't eat what I used to eat anymore. I just don't have. I don't know if I'm just not that hungry, but they were doing. I think back in June when we were all kind of quarantined still. Somebody was saying, yeah, he eats like 4 big meals and then in between has like 4 large snacks a day.
Wow. That's fine for now. You better be able to shut that off, though, when you hit 40. I'll tell you that much.
Ask David Duvall, right?
Ask him. That's exactly right. It'll jump on you quick, for sure, if you're not careful. And then even when you're careful and you lose it, it'll come back quick if you're not careful. Trust me, I can speak from experience on both those things. Real quick here's what Tiger said. So today, Wednesday, practice round. I'm going to tee it up, play the tournament starting tomorrow. And obviously he is defending. And so yesterday, Tiger was talking about looking back on that win last year and how it gives him chills.
I mean, I'm still getting chills just think about it. Feelings, coming up 18 and knowing that all I had to do is just two-putt that little 15-footer and, to see my family there and my mom and my kids and all the people that helped support me or were there for me during the tough times. And I was walking up there just trying not to lose it and say, hey, I still got to two-putt this. And then when I walked off the back of the green, to see Charlie there and just open up our arms, and it meant a lot to me, and it still does. And just reminded me so much of me and my dad. And to come full circle like that, it still gives me, a little teary.
So, what about this year, Tiger?
Well, it's not how I wanted to retain the jacket for this long. Obviously, this has been an unprecedented circumstance we're all dealing with, and it's been incredible to have the jacket and to have it, around the house and to share it with people. But to have it this long, it's not the way I wanted to have it. I wanted to earn it back in April, but obviously we didn't have that. But we have an opportunity to play this week, which, early in the year, we didn't think we'd have this opportunity.
So that's Tiger. Looking back on last year, didn't think you'd have the opportunity. Glad to have it. They've painted the grass, according to inside sources, out at Live Oaks. They've painted the grass, or some of it, and fall foliage at Augusta. I've never seen it before. So you close one door, and another door opens to a certain degree. Hey, we'll kind of let a few more quotes come out of the teleconferences with SEC coaches that are going on today. That's the telephone stuff. All that stuff kind of makes its way to Twitter. Some of it's still coming out, so we'll hold on to that, kind of let it finish up, and then go back and look and see who said what today. There's some interesting stuff today that came out of the Mike Leach teleconference about the situation at State and the timing of it and when can they practice and COVID regulations, all that. There's some interesting stuff from Greg Sankey, the commissioner. So we'll get to all that. Let it finish up. It's still kind of going on right now. For now, let's do this. If you're in the state of Mississippi here, let's peek ahead to Friday night. Okay, so as it is, you don't have games on Thursday night. All the playoff games are going to be on Friday night. Okay, I'm looking over here at MississippiGridiron.com. That's where I go to kind of keep up with who's playing who. They do a really good job of updating that. So they've got the updated playoff schedule going on for high school football here in Mississippi. Let me start you off here. 6A, first round of the playoffs this Friday night. Here they are. Madison Central goes to Oxford. Madison Central 8-3, Oxford 9-0.
Hey, who's the head coach at Oxford? Is Cutcliffe still?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep, Chris Cutcliffe.
Thank you.
Yep, that's him. I remember watching him quarterback Oxford in the state championship game. I guess Coach Hill, Johnny Hill would have been his coach.
Yeah.
And they were playing in Jackson still at the time at Veterans Memorial. And they played Wayne County. And Wayne County beat them. Wayne County had a kid playing quarterback who was a true freshman that year. Some of y'all may remember his name. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Was that when Gerald Poe was a senior?
See, no, that would have been after that.
Okay.
Poe would have been a few years before that.
Okay.
Again, I'm ballparking it here. I'm going to ballpark that thing somewhere in the neighborhood of about 2010, maybe a little before that.
I would say a little before that.
All right, so here we go. 6A playoffs Friday night. Hernando 6-4 goes to South Panola, who's 8-2. Clinton will host Horn Lake. Clinton's 8-2. Horn Lake 5-4. Tupelo will host Warren Central. Tupelo 6-4. Warren Central 8-2. Undefeated number 1 Oak Grove 9-0 hosting Biloxi, who's 6-3. Harrison Central hosts Pearl. Pearl goes on the road. They're 4-6. Harrison Central 7-2. Undefeated D'Iberville on the coast is hosting Petal, who is 6-4 going on the road. And then 9-2 Ocean Springs is at 7-3 Northwest Rankin. So those are your 6A playoff games on Friday night. You know, I probably need to reach out to good old Jeff Shepard, the voice of the Ocean Springs Greyhounds.
Yeah, we had him on not too long ago.
Yeah, they ran off a 9-2 season right there. So we probably need to hit him up, talk to him before he comes our way on Friday night. Okay, 5A playoffs. Who is it? Who's that again? Instead of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, Eddie Murphy on Saturday Night Live was doing Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood. And there was a knock on the door, and he said, "I'm going to show you boys and girls how to answer the door." And then he waited, and they knocked again. He went, "Who is it?" He said, "Landlord, I need the rent." And he ended the show and escaped out the window. That was the whole segment. All right. Class 5A playoffs Friday night. Vicksburg is in, and they go to Grenada. Grenada 7-2, hosting Vicksburg 4-7. Vicksburg got their feet under them, won 4 games after going like 0-2, 0-3, I believe, to start the year. Holmes County Central in 5A is going to host West Point. That's a heck of a ball game.
Talking about a team that got off to a slow start earlier this year, and look at them rebound to 8-3, right?
Mm-hmm, no doubt. Well, and get in their own classification. They can beat anybody in it, you know. But look out for Neshoba Central. They're 9-1, and they're hosting Lafayette, who that game got canceled. That's what I saw.
Yeah.
Yes.
That game got.
Lafayette had COVID issues, and they've zapped it. So who did Neshoba Central lose to this year?
I'm sure White Denzel will text us and let us know, or maybe Ready Teddy or
Fletch the know-it-all.
Yeah. Fletch is from the Delta.
Okay, gotcha.
He may not be aware of that one.
Well, he'll be aware of this one then. Lake Cormorant hosting Ridgeland, 7-2, hosting 8-2. Laurel at 8-3 is hosting East Central at 8-2. Picayune.
I just got a text. Neshoba Central lost to Ridgeland.
Oh, okay, Ridgeland. All right.
Former baseball coach there.
All right. Thanks for the heads up on that. Picayune is 8-2. They are hosting West Jones, who's 9-2 on the year. A 6-4 Pascagoula is hosting a 5-3 Brookhaven, and then 6-4 South Jones hosting Hattiesburg. Hattiesburg on the road at 7-3. That's Class 5A playoffs Friday night. Now let's look at 1A. This is first round of 1A. Biggersville 10-0 hosting West Lowndes in the first round of the 1A playoffs. I was just going to look it up real quick. JB, let me tell you some scores. Have you done this at any point, seen the scores this year for Biggersville?
I have, just simply because that was either your first or second hometown heroes.
Yeah, it was the second one, yeah.
Yeah, and I really got into them in that particular
right.
What you put together, and so I've kept up with them. They've harassed some people.
This is their offensive. These are their scores. This is all the scores. Now, they had 2 of their wins are 10-0, but 2 of them were forfeits, okay? They hadn't played in a couple of weeks because of the forfeits. Here are the scores this year for Biggersville. 46-21, 60-6, 64-0, 52-0, 54-0, 40-13, 62-6, and 66-0. They've scored 46, 60, 64, 52, 54, 40, 62, and 66 this year in the games they've played. That's incredible.
Sounds like they know how to do the air raid.
Oh, there's a ground and pound.
Yeah.
They can do a little bit of everything. Man, what a season so far. They're hosting West Lowndes first round on Friday night. All right, TCPS, Tupelo Christian, they are good. They held Biggersville to their season low in points in the season opener. TCPS is 7-2. They host Ashland. Nana Wyatt 9-0, hosting Myrtle. Baldwin at 5-3 is hosting French Camp at 6-4. Simmons at 6-1 is hosting 6-3 Resurrection. 8-2 Sebastopol is hosting Ethel. Don't look, Ethel! Ray Stevens.
She did. She got a free shot.
She did. Lumberton at 8-1 is hosting McAdams 5-6, and 6-3 Coffeyville hosting 6-4 Stringer. That is your first round of 1A. Now, some of these we may have gone over. I don't know. You're looking at the second round of the playoffs here in Mississippi for 2A, 3A, 4A. Let's start with 4A. Second round in 4A. West Lauderdale goes to Corinth. Itawamba AHS goes to Clarksdale, who's 9-2. Pontotoc goes to Ripley. They don't have to go far. Highway 15, right up through New Albany, right up through Blue Mountain, right past High Point Roasters in New Albany. All of y'all listening on the live stream from Pontotoc, and all of y'all that have relatives that are Warriors fans in Roger Lamb's old stomping grounds, tell the folks in Pontotoc, you get on Highway 15 and you go through New Albany. And just as you get on the other side of past New Albany High School, you go down a hill, start looking to the left. And you're going to see a sign out there in two buildings that says High Point Roasters Coffee. That's where the coffee in this cup came from. Speaking of New Albany, they go to Louisville. Good luck with that one. Louisville 9-1. Undefeated Newton County goes to North Pike. South Pike goes to Poplarville.
See, how does that happen? How does a team that is undefeated, this is what's boggled my mind about the MHSAA playoffs for all my life. How can you be 10-0 and you have to travel for a playoff game?
Well, yeah. You know, now the answer that you get is, well, they hosted last week. And if you host the week before, you hit the road the next week so that other teams can have a chance to rake in the gate. You know what I'm saying?
And you know what that sounds like to me?
Yeah.
I'm not for that at all.
Jasper is telling me there's already been 5 high school games canceled. So y'all tell me if I say some that you know have already been canceled. Y'all let me know and we'll come back and update this, okay? South Pike goes to Poplarville. Macomb is at Mendenhall. And then Lawrence County will go to Sumrall. Sumrall hosting in the Class 4A, 3-7 on the year. All right, let's look at 3A. These are your 3A playoff matchups Friday night. I got to go faster. I got 2 minutes. Amory hosts Choctaw County. This is second round of Class 3A. Senatobia goes to Winona. Nettleton back home to host North Panola. Look out. Noxubee County in 3A hosts Booneville. Kemper County hosting West Marion. Columbia will host Hazelhurst. Forest will host Raleigh. Look out. McGee will host Morton. And then in Class 2A, you're talking about the second round in 2A. You have J.Z. George hosting East Union. The Urchins are 8-1. Undefeated Northside hosting Eupora. Mantachi hosting Calhoun City. This is Class 2A, round 2. East Webster hosts Walnut, who's 8-2, by the way. Philadelphia hosting Taylorsville. Wesson, 8-2, will host Union, who's 8-2. Scott Central at home hosting Bogachita. And then you got Newton, a 6-3 team, hosting Enterprise, who's 8-1. Enterprise, who I saw on Friday night, who's a really good football team, and so a road playoff game for them. Okay, they are telling me on the live stream that Itawamba Clarksdale got canceled because of a COVID issue with Clarksdale. So it looks like Itawamba's going to move on in Class 4A. 2-0 playoff win for Itawamba. Now, like I said, I think there's some others. Denzel, just right on cue, JB. Denzel on the Country Pleasin' text line. Country Pleasin' sausage on grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast says Macomb at Mendenhall is canceled. Mendenhall moves on and will host Sumrall next week. Okay, got it. LSU said, now I know why their name is Biggersville. They're bigger than everybody else in 1A. Well, they have been so far today. Now, with where they are in that part of the state, there's some really good 1A teams and programs in South Mississippi who they would not have faced. Lynn. What are we talking about? So it's the same jacket. What are we talking about? What are we talking about right there, Lynn? I can't remember. Which jacket? All right, so there you go. That's a look at MHSAA stuff, playoffs. Second round, 2A, 3A, 4A. First round for 1A, 5A, 6A. That's what it looks like. Find some MAIS matchups, and we'll take a look at those for this week. We'll do that another time in the show. All right, so they are kind of sort of have wound up the Q&A for the most part on today's SEC Coaches Teleconference. Let me give you a few highlights from that. Mike Leach said a few things you might be interested in, and same for Greg Sankey, Commissioner of the League. So I'll give that to you next. If you'll just stick around, hang with me right here in the Farm Bureau studio. Stay with me.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
Bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with auto pay and paperless billing. Even without auto pay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bull. That's the real deal. Switch to C Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? Country Pleasin' sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan, put it on a bun. Get some andouille, make some gumbo. It is the best sausage you've ever put in your mouth. Country Pleasin' sausage, countrypleasin.com. It is made up of hand-picked hams, bacon, and pork loin. That's why it tastes so good. I even got this cool hat from them. Check them out. Go by the butcher shop there in Florence, or order it online, or look for it in grocery stores. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasin', please.
lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing for 2020 that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once everything, the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wyatt stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much and it's dirty as all get out. But this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Hey, are you buying land or selling it? You need to let Matt Anderson with National Land Realty help you out. Matt Anderson Properties. Here's what Matt can do. If you're buying land, you can view the property without ever setting foot on it. They've got the 360-degree interactive drone touring. It's really cool. You got to check it out. And if you're selling property, Matt's going to get you consistent reports, comprehensive reports of who's looking, how many people looked at your listing. You need to let him help you. Matt Anderson. All right, back with you. Here we go, rolling along in hour number 2 in the Farm Bureau Insurance studio. Farm Bureau Insurance. Go with the home team. They are your home team. That is Farm Bureau. Quick historical nugget right here for you. I played one of the clips earlier in the show today, November the 11th. On this day, November the 11th, 1984, Gary Coleman, at the age of 13, underwent his second kidney transplant in Los Angeles. He had his first kidney transplant at age 5. Remember Gary Coleman from Different Strokes? What you talking about, Willis?
What you talking about, Willis?
That was him. What you talking about?
What you talking about?
What you talking about? Yeah, Gary Coleman. Have you ever read about Gary Coleman's life? Adopted early, had a kidney disease. You mentioned his first kidney transplant at age 5, became the most famous and most wealthy child actor, certainly at that time, one of the most ever at that time. And just kind of stayed young, like his growth was stunted. He was under 5 feet tall. It kind of had a sad ending to his life where a lot of it was financial and people that agents, he claimed agents, adoptive parents, others were constantly being sued because of what they had taken from him and everything. Yeah, kind of a sad ending. I remember Different Strokes. Anyway, historical nugget. From if you're a child of the 80s, you certainly went around school saying, what you talking about?
What you talking about, Willis?
What you talking about, Willis? I'm telling you, it was as famous gets back then, for sure.
It was one of my dad's favorite shows.
It's great.
He loved it. He loved it.
What you talking about, Willis? Okay, let me throw some quotes at y'all. You ready for this? Quotes, a few anyway, floating out of today's SEC Coaches Teleconference. Try this one on for size. Like, we're going to have a humdinger right out of the gate, okay? By the way, y'all can text me, okay? So any reaction, whatever, text me. Country Pleasing text line, 885-ESPN or 885-3776. Quote today from Lane Kiffin on if the Rebels are near their COVID threshold to play. Listen to this. He says, quote, I haven't looked at the numbers that way. I want to play. I think it's more if you don't want to play, you look at the numbers. We are excited to play. Wow. Boys, did you hear that? How does that land? Lane Kiffin said this, I haven't looked at numbers that way. I want to play. I think it's more if you don't want to play, you look at the numbers. We're excited to play. In other words, if you want to play, the numbers generally work out. I mean, look, I'm not trying to make something out of nothing right there just to have a quote to talk about. But y'all JB, tell me, am I crazy? That is an SEC coach.
Right.
That's basically saying without saying, look, when we want to play, the numbers work out. I think a lot of these teams that all of a sudden they have a numbers issue, they don't really want to play. That's basically what he's saying.
Without saying it, right.
Without saying it. It is, first of all, it's really smart to be able to say something without saying it so that when it's quoted and written on Twitter or in our, people can't just pin you to the wall for it. Quote, I haven't looked at numbers that way. I want to play. I think it's more if you don't want to play, you look at the numbers. These teams that ain't playing, they looked at the numbers. They really weren't that interested in playing.
That's kind of.
There it is.
Oh man. It's out there now.
He said it. SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey on what everyone thought would be the biggest hurdle of the season. Quote, candidly, the numbers around contact tracing have emerged as one of our biggest challenges to playing. Contact tracing. Outside of the SEC, chalk another one up. Another one bites the dust here. Maryland football will pause all team activities due to an elevated number of COVID-19 cases within the program. The Ohio State game scheduled for Saturday, November 14th, has been canceled and will not be rescheduled. Sorry, Ohio State, you don't get to beat up on us. Our numbers, as Lane Kiffin would say, have shown us we can't play. Here's some more from Greg Sankey. Quote, there are plenty of rescheduling suggestions on Twitter, but I don't run the league based on Twitter. Come on, Lynn. That's what I'm talking about. You know, another example of saying something you didn't just come out and say. In other words, we got a bunch of idiots on Twitter.
You think?
In other words, Twitter can run out here and stick it where the sun don't shine. Twitter. I'm not running this league on Twitter. Nor should he. But again, there are plenty of scheduling suggestions on Twitter, but I don't run the league based on Twitter. Another quote from Greg Sankey, Commissioner of the SEC, on the discussion of testing out of quarantine, being able to just test, and some of them come out of quarantine by just testing a bunch. Quote, we have not discussed that with intent among the, talking about the Power Five. Perhaps that advice will change, meaning from the CDC. From my perspective, when we dig into what happened, it's off-field behavior. All right. Y'all help me. I'm a dad, just a guy. I'm not a partier, and I don't celebrate stuff very much. Are you trying to tell me, and I'm supposed to believe, that Halloween and Halloween parties is what has led to this momentous outbreak of, compared to September and October, it is a momentous outbreak of COVID positives in college football is because of Halloween parties. Am I supposed to believe that?
Well, I read an article yesterday afternoon after we got off the air that's what LSU's people are putting out. That's why they're having the rapid rise they had. Evidently, there was a huge Halloween party that a bunch of players went to.
They went to Halloween parties.
Right. I don't know if they were all bobbing for apples in the same little tin thing or not. I don't know.
Bobbing for apples, man. How unsanitary. I did it as a kid. I'm sticking my head down in that tub of water full of spit. In there.
Putting your mouth on apples that other people already put their mouth on.
Yeah, run up here and bite that apple. You know, it ain't got but 85 other teeth marks. And then somewhere along the way, somebody goes, you know, I don't know that we ought to be doing this. A big tub of soupy water that after the fourth, quote unquote, vampire with cheap Walmart face paint sticks his head down in there, the water becomes all discolored and soupy and gooey. And there's, you know what's in there? A, saliva. B, snot. A little bit of everything's in there. Yet, we just, kid after kid, sure, Cindy, go over there and just dunk your whole face into it. Get a good double nostril snort full of that pool. Go ahead. Somebody goes, that ain't a good idea. That's not a good idea. This goes back to something, JB, like the difference in perspective. The first person who ever decided to do, think about the first person ever who came up with that idea and went, this is a good idea. This right here is a good idea. Okay, but anyway, fast forward. At some point they did away with that. And then what did they do? Let's just hang the apples from the ceiling on a string. Wait a minute, time out. So these kids are going to come up here and bite the same apples? Yeah, but it's not down in the water. It's just out in the air. It's healthier. Uh-huh. It sure isn't. It sure isn't healthier. Okay, so I don't know if they're bobbing for apples at the LSU Halloween party, but they're saying, you're trying to get me to believe across college football we have an outbreak and a cancellation of games and loss in revenue of millions upon millions upon millions of dollars because players went to Halloween parties.
I mean, my Lord, you had Mullen dress up as Darth Vader the night he incited a riot.
He incited a riot and then encouraged his kids attending Halloween parties. Is that what we're saying now about Mullen?
Yeah, well, they missed the next 2 weeks.
I don't know what's going on at Halloween parties. I have never been to a college Halloween party. I don't know that I've even been to an adult Halloween party. But apparently it's a lot of fun.
It seems like it would be safe because everybody would have masks on, right?
Yeah, but they're plastic masks from Big Lots. With a little hole over your mouth there. You know, that's the problem. Jeez, man. Stick around.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
Bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with auto pay and paperless billing. Even without auto pay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bull. That's the real deal. Switch to C Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? Country pleasing sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan. Put it on a bun. Get some andouille, make some gumbo. It is the best sausage you've ever put in your mouth. Country Pleasing Sausage, countrypleasing.com. It is made up of hand-picked hams, bacon, and pork loin. That's why it tastes so good. I even got this cool hat from them. Check them out. Go by the butcher shop there in Florence, or order it online, or look for it in grocery stores. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasing, please.
A lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing for 2020 that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wyatt stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, and it's dirty as all get out. But this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Hey, are you buying land or selling it? You need to let Matt Anderson with National Land Realty help you out. Matt Anderson Properties. Here's what Matt can do. If you're buying land, you can view the property without ever setting foot on it. They've got the 360-degree interactive drone touring. It's really cool. You got to check it out. And if you're selling property, Matt's going to get you consistent reports, comprehensive reports of who's looking, how many people looked at your listing. You need to let him help you. Matt Anderson Properties with National Land Realty. Call him, 601-408-5155. Hey, if you listen to the show, you know that the third hour... Back with you. JB, we appear to be having connection issues on the live stream right now. What I'm going to do is send it back to commercial.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
Bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with auto pay and paperless billing. Even without auto pay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bull. That's the real deal. Switch to C Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? Country Pleasin' sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan, put it on a bun. Get some andouille, make some gumbo. It is the best sausage you've ever put in your mouth. Country Pleasin' sausage, countrypleasin.com. It is made up of hand-picked hams, bacon, and pork loin. That's why it tastes so good. I even got this cool hat from it. Check them out. Go by the butcher shop there in Florence, or order it online, or look for it in grocery stores. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasin', please.
A lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing for 2020 that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once everything, the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wyatt stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, and it's dirty as all get out. But this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Hey, are you buying land or selling it? You need to let Matt Anderson with National Land Realty help you out. Matt Anderson Properties. Here's what Matt can do. If you're buying land, you can view the property without ever setting foot on it. They've got the 360-degree interactive drone touring. It's really cool. You got to check it out. And if you're selling property, Matt's going to get you consistent reports, comprehensive reports of who's looking, how many people looked at your listing. You need to let him help you. Matt Anderson Properties with National Land Realty. Call him, 601-408-5155. Hey, if you listen to the show, you know that the new third hour of the Matt Wyatt Show is brought to you by Overstreet Properties in Starkville. Here's what you need to know. If you're looking for a weekend home or condo, full-time residence, investment property, maybe just an apartment to lease, you got a student going to school at State, call Kane Overstreet at Overstreet Properties. In Starkville, it's 323-8618, or look them up online, overstreetproperties.com.